My name is Stephen Fyfe. I teach computer science at Central College in the small town of Pella, Iowa. And in 2018, my daughter Abby and I celebrated her graduation from college by taking 3 weeks and walking the Camino. We did the Camino Frances route. We started about partway into the walk. We started at the city of Burgos, and then we walked for 21 days to Santiago. Today, I want to share how that walk has influenced my view of community and hospitality. For most of us, our view of community is our church. It's our church community, or it's that InterVarsity group on campus that we spend life with. Our community is the fellow group of believers that we've chosen to share our life with. And that's a really, really important group. That's a really important community to have. But since the walk, my view of community has been broadened. I think I was reminded on this walk of some other aspects of community that I'd like to share with you. The first thought that I have is that as important as it is as that group of believers who are around you all the time is, our community is broader than that. Our community can be anybody that we share an experience with, whether it's short-term or long-term. On the very, very first day of our walk, as we were getting off the bus and trying to find the path, we ran into the Manuels. The Manuels were two German friends who happened to be starting the Camino at the same time. They were both named Manuel. And we ended up sharing 3 weeks with them. Not the entire time. We would walk together for a couple of days, and then we'd kind of split up, and then we would get back together and just kind of going back and forth. But so much of the Camino was a shared experience with them, having meals and sharing a cup of hot chocolate with, and just different things like that. There was the excitement when, after not seeing them for a couple of days and wondering if we were going to see them again, and then we see them up ahead. And then there was the sadness on the last day when we knew that that was it. We were not going to see them again. I don't know their last name. They don't know our last name, but for those 3 weeks, we shared life. And it was just a great sense of community with these two other men as we walked together. Another example is about the 4th or 5th night in. We had been staying in albergues, and we just decided that we would splurge a little bit. We'd get a hotel so that we just had a room to ourselves for once. Well, it turns out that this hotel that we ended up staying at was a very small hotel. It was run by a husband and wife, had I think maybe 8 to 10 rooms. But every night, the husband was an excellent chef, and he would prepare a meal for the guests. And he and his wife would then sit down and share this meal with their guests. And that night, sharing, talking with these people who I would never see again in my life. I cannot tell you the names of any of the people that we ate with that night. But I had such a profound sense of community. And it was because of that shared experience that we had. And this husband and wife, every night they do the same thing for another group of weary travelers. And I don't know that they understand the hospitality that they're showing, the sense of community that they are bringing to that group of travelers for that one night. And then they just do it again the next night. But I guess I would like to challenge all of us to think about going beyond our normal sense of community and thinking about who is it that God wants us to share an experience with? Who does he want us to commune with? And then my other thought is something that I know is true. I think we've all known that it's true, but we sometimes tend to forget. And that is, we always have community with God. We always have community with Jesus. so much of our walk, Abby, my daughter, and I would be walking, 8, 12 hours a day. There's only so much that we can talk about during that time. And so there was so much of the walk that was just silence. It was just quietly walking. We walked through prairies, flat land, no trees. We walked through vineyards where it's just miles and miles of vines and grapes. And we walked up and down mountains, just so much of that in silence. And I just remembered, it just reminded me how much I need to slow down and experience God and commune with God. That was an incredible time for me, and it's something that I brought home. I try to do that more. It's so hard in our busy world, but the more we can do that, I think the better off we will be. A little story, there was a little tradition that we found out before we left, that on the Camino you're supposed to carry a rock, and that rock is supposed to represent your troubles or the things that are bothering you. About 2/3 to 3/4 of the way on the Camino, you're climbing a mountain, and you get to the top of the mountain, and there's this big cross at the top of the mountain, and you'll see there's all kinds of rocks around the cross. Your idea is you carry your troubles that far, and then you take that rock that represents your troubles and you set them at the foot of the cross, and you say, I now know what it's been like for me to carry my troubles. I'm now going to let God take these troubles away. And that moment, obviously it doesn't last forever, but for that moment, I really experienced community with God, and I understood what it meant to let Him carry my troubles. Toward the end of our walk, there was this young lady. We were staying in an albergue, so there was many people around, and there was this one little girl, young lady, who was just crying and crying, and somebody asked her what was wrong, and she said, I'm almost done with my walk, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. She had expected that this walk, that just through walking, she was going to figure out something that she needed to figure out in her life. And it just brought home to me that no amount of walking is going to help you figure out what your troubles are or how to deal with your troubles if you don't have that community with God. It's so, so important. And so just in closing, I would like to bless your walk today. My blessing for you would be that as you walk today or as you walk tomorrow, that you will slow down and that you will give God the opportunity to commune with you, and that it will be a wonderful day. Thank you, and buen camino.